Hello and welcome to this edition of Your Starting Point, and we're joined by Leigh Smyth. How you doing, Leigh?
I'm really good today. Thank you very much, Dan. How are you?
Good. I'm very well, thank you, and excited about this. So I've been trying to do my research on you, as always. So I've been going onto LinkedIn, and if anybody wants some advice and some good examples of LinkedIn profiles, I suggest you check out Leigh's LinkedIn profile. So it is very thorough. You've got a lot going on there. Is that taking you some time?
What, my LinkedIn?
Yeah, your profile.
Uh,
You,
what
you
to do my LinkedIn or to generate the experience?
Well, yeah, both really. But I mean, yeah, I mean, here's your kind of your profile. You're an award-winning social impact and systems change strategist, CEO, founder, and at Impact Match, co-founder at Actionable, FTSE and NGO board advisor, executive search and strategy, ESG, digital inclusion, and dyslexic thinker. So
Yeah.
that's a lot. And I've looked in your experience there. So I mean, some standout sort of job roles you've had and organizations that you've worked for. I mean, for 8 years, you were at Lloyd's Banking Group.
Mhm.
And one of the titles, Head of Group Digital Inclusion and Responsible Transformation Inclusion Director. And you started in logistics at Superdrug or something. Is that right?
Yes, that is right. Yes.
How
Well,
did you?
I started at Topshop head office in logistics.
Right.
It was
Okay. So you
21.
started in logistics, in retail, and
Mhm.
you've now become sort of advisors to FTSE 100 companies in terms of sort of digital inclusion and all the rest of it. So how does that happen?
Um, well, I guess my career started off with just wanting a job. I'd graduated. I wanted to work in London. I wanted to work somewhere quite cool. Topshop give free clothes away every now and then to people that work there. So I thought that was great. And I wanted to work as hard as I could. So I felt I was very lucky to have a job to start with. I'd come from quite a modest background. I just believe in having a strong work ethic. So I kept on getting promoted. I enjoyed the people I worked with. That was the main reason I came to work. And I realized then at the age of 29, having worked really hard and because I was working really hard and I was doing quite well within the projects I was given, I got promoted kind of every 2 years or headhunted to go and join a different company. And I ended up being at PC World in my 30s. And at that point, I had got to a head of level quite young for my age, but it was through sheer tenacity and enjoying what I did, etc., and enjoying the people I worked with. But I realized that they were talking to me about going on an executive development program to the next level. And I realized that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be in logistics. I realized that I think I'd reached the level of my own skill base in logistics. I thought that if somebody said, right, go and build a warehouse over there, I'd know how to program manage it, I'd know the right people, I'd know how to deliver it on time to cost and quality. But I wouldn't be the person thinking, right, in the whole of the UK, we need a distribution strategy, which is X, Y, and Z. And so I realized that that was the level that I'd get to. And so uh, what was happening at the time in the company was that they were having some problems with distribution, and they needed somebody with kind of my approach to work that would just stick at it and really see it through and achieve what they needed to with it. So, but I wasn't doing that job, and so they asked me if I would do it and stop my doing my current job and go and work on this project for 6 months. So I saw that as my chance. My father had just recently passed. It really made me rethink about what I wanted to do in my career back in 2005. And I thought, right, if I don't ask now, I'm never going to ask. So I asked if they would do a deal in your career is so important. So I said to them, yes, I will give them what they want. I'll go and work really hard on this project for 6 months. But can you do a deal? Can you ring fence my salary because I couldn't afford to take a pay cut? I wasn't asking for a pay rise. Could they retrain me in the commercial skills that I needed to be able to switch careers, but albeit within retail? And they agreed. So I was delighted. And so I did the project for 6 months and they stuck by their word and they allowed me to be retrained. And so I went from being this kind of quite a senior person within one of the high street retailers to a more junior person, just and retrained myself, and with the support of colleagues, was able then to become head of innovation for PC World. And that's when I pivoted my career to an impact career. So I didn't really look back from that point onwards. Once I really knew what I wanted to achieve, I was able to do it.
Right. I mean, that's quite a big pivot, and it's quite risking. So you were definitely sure that what you wanted to do, as you said, you reached your kind of limit, and you kind of knew where you wanted to go, and you did the deal, which is fantastic. So how did you get into your first job? I mean, did you go to university, or what was your kind of education? And
Well, I was offered my first job at the age of 12, Dan, when I was talking to I went on a hen weekend this weekend actually with one of my friends. I'm the maid of honor, and I was explaining to this group of professional women my backstory about the fact that, yeah, when I was 12, I tried to negotiate with a guy that runs the local or ran the local coach company. Um, my argument was, or my sales technique was, that I had enough money for a ticket for myself, but not enough for my gran. So if he was able to gift me a ticket for my gran, then it would mean that he got at least one sale rather than two. So that was my, yeah, at the age of 12. And he said no, he couldn't do that. But he did ask me to come back when I was 16 and he would offer me a job. So I suppose that was my first interview, if you like, a bit of a confidence boost. And so, yeah, my first job was working in fashion. Actually, I was retailer on Saturdays, and I worked in the evenings as well, doing babysitting, and I also worked as a breakfast waitress. So, like, I think the laws were a lot more lax back then, but I was working probably from the age of 14. So I've always worked hard and just filled my time with work. I enjoy it. It's a way to meet people, to do great things, to have an impact in the world, and earn some money at the same time. So, and then I went to, for me, I failed most of my GCSEs. I didn't really understand the power of studying until I was going out with a boy who was doing his A levels, and his family were much more into kind of education and what have you. And they were talking a lot, at dinner time, over the dinner table, about what A levels he would be choosing and stuff. So I kind of thought, oh, I'll do A levels as well. But I went to see my headmaster, and he was like, "There's no way you're doing A levels, Leigh, after failing most of your GCSEs." So I was like, "Well, why not?" I didn't really understand, and he said, "Well, because we don't think you're clever enough." And I was like, "Well, I'm not sure how clever you think I am, because I don't know myself, because I've never studied." Which they knew that. So, like, I'd literally have homework, drop it in a puddle, and still hand it in. Like, I just didn't understand the impact. I'd not really met anybody that valued education. And so when this time happened and he said I wasn't able to do it again, I'm all about a deal. So I said, well, what deal can you do? I promised to work really hard, and I promise you, I will try my best. I don't know how clever I am, but I will try my best. And he said, okay, but you can only do two A levels, and then you have to resit your GCSEs at the same time, the ones you failed. So I was like, right, deal. And yeah, I ended up doing really well and got A's. So I was really pleased, really pleased. And I guess that kind of showed me in my career as well. It's a bit of a testament. If you want something really enough, then you can achieve most things in life. I'm never going to be a ballet dancer. I haven't got natural skill to be a ballet dancer. But I think with a lot of jobs in business, as long as you work hard enough and you've got your wits about you, you can achieve anything. So yeah, so that was my first testament. And then I went to Birmingham and left Birmingham and went to London. And that's when I got my first job in logistics. So yeah, I did that for 10 years.
well, it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, you didn't understand the value. You didn't really meet people that sort of had the value in sort of education and doing exams and homework and that kind of thing. So it is important, isn't it, to have people around you to sort of show you what's possible and what the options are, isn't it?
Yeah, and I really had to do it, right? I really wanted to go to university. I didn't understand why I couldn't go. So I asked people for help as well. So I was really lucky in that one of the teachers had just graduated as a young teacher in psychology. And I don't know whether she just saw me as a bit of a project, but she was at the end of class, she would spend half an hour with me explaining things that I hadn't been able to understand. And back then I didn't realize I was dyslexic. So I needed extra time, because one of the reasons why I hadn't been on reflection so good in some of my tests was because, and they said this to me, that for the answers that I answered them all correctly, but I was slow because I obviously needed to reread questions in my head. But actually having a champion of me, like I call them change makers in my career, somebody who had a bit of time to share their knowledge with me about how I can learn and really invested themselves in my education. I mean, this teacher took me to lectures at Manchester University. I mean, I'd never understood this world of academia at all before then. And I was, what, 16 and going to Manchester University. I was like, wow, and the smell of the books, that, things like that really just inspired me. But it's because of her, and because the head had, did this deal with me, that, yeah, I'm forever grateful. You just need a break every now and then.
Yeah, and you just hope that everybody, doesn't matter where they are in the country and what schools they go to and all the rest of it, there is somebody that gives them that chance. So you do feel like sometimes schools have got so much on their plate,
You've
haven't
got
they?
to ask for it now. You've got to ask.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's it. So if there's not, there might be some people out there thinking, well, I haven't got anybody trying to help me out. What would your advice be? It would be to go out and find someone, and go and speak to someone and get that help. Is that what you'd say?
Yeah, I think my parents taught me that the worst thing somebody can say to you is no. So back then, when you think about me asking Bullock's coaches for a free ticket for my nana, my mum and dad would have been behind me saying, well, you might as well go ask. So they might not have taught me about the traditional route for academia, but they taught me so many more life skills than that. And those helped me get to where I am today, because, the worst thing somebody can say is no. And what is the problem with no? It's like, okay, fine. But you never know unless you ask.
Yeah. I know the way you say it, it sounds easy enough, but I think it still takes an element of you that your parents must have instilled some sort of confidence in you. Because I know my dad was extremely confident, and I felt so shy in comparison. And he would just ask and do the cheekiest things at stores, try and get money off a lawnmower or something like this because it's been on show, or just anything. He just didn't care. He just tried it. Whereas it's taken me a long time to get there. Yeah, you
Confidence can come in different ways, though, can't it, Dan? Like, I don't know. I
yeah.
just think, I genuinely think a lot of the time people would like to be asked because they're not sure, because the world is mixed. Is it what, 55% introvert and 45% extrovert or something like that? So I just kind of think we're doing people a favor in the same way as when somebody will go quiet in a conversation with me, because I'm, as you may have noticed, I talk a lot and I talk over people, and I apologize just because I get so excited. I I'm very reflective of when somebody's quiet, because that makes me reflect as well. So I think, yeah, people who are more introvert than I, and a lot of which are my friends actually, tend to appreciate the fact that I'm more
Mm.
extrovert. I will ask those questions because it helps us get into clubs. When I was younger, not now, it would help us, I don't know, get that deal, get that dress. I don't know. But yeah.
I know my wife surrounds herself with a lot of confident ladies, so she's one of the introverts, so it kind of works well. But going back to your
Yeah.
career, so you said you had tenacity. I don't know if that's the same. It probably isn't the same as drive. You must have still had a bit of drive to keep on pushing to progress in these careers. Is that something? And did you find it easy to do that? Did you have any kind of barriers in the way? How did you manage to kind of progress quite quickly, frequently?
Suppose I'm always curious. So even if I was really happy in role, really happy with the team, really happy with the direction of my career, I'd be always curious as to what else was available that I could be doing. Um, so if there was a job being advertised, or if I met somebody from a different company, I'm just naturally asking lots of questions and what have you to find out what the world of work was like. Um, I suppose as well, I never wanted to be reliant on anybody else in life. So, particularly before I was married and what have you, I kind of figured that if I didn't work hard, nobody was going to work hard for me. And so if I didn't do it, there would be nobody to do it. And I wanted to make sure that I could have the things that I suppose, wanted to have in life, not just financial. I'm talking about um, career opportunities, training, etc. So in my early years, I tended to work for much larger companies where the organizations had really good training programs. For example, even at PC World, when I was being retrained, I went on a week's training course for negotiation skills, which has really helped me in life. All the different techniques of negotiation, because I was responsible for millions of pounds worth of buying budgets. So, you had to make sure that you're getting the right deal for customers.
Yeah, I mean, training
Yeah, I think,
businesses is quite a big thing, isn't it? Because sometimes, typically, you would say in the smaller businesses, the opportunity for really high end or decent training and upskilling isn't always there, is it?
yeah, that depends who you work with, I think, and what skills you want. So I learned so much from working with Martha Lane, Baroness Martha Lane Fox, for example. She'd been an entrepreneur, she'd started her own company, she'd sold it, she was driven by impact. She is driven by impact, I should say. And I'd never worked with anybody quite like her, or the people that she would invite into the office. So I learned so much. And that was less than 9 people, that size organization, when I was managing
Mm.
director. So it depends who you're working for. I guess what I didn't realize until my late 40s, which I'd really wish I'd known earlier, is that life is a lot about who you work for. You can work in a company that it's a bit like what I was saying in logistics. I enjoyed it because I was working with really great people and amazing leaders. Um, and that is what life is about, is working with the people that you can get on with. I honestly, life is too short to be in a company or a team that you're not happy in, for sure.
Just wondering if people sort of lack the confidence, or maybe it's not confidence. I think a lot of people get a job and they're really happy to be in that job and they're really grateful to be in that job, and they don't want to kind of feel like they're pushing their luck, or they want to be humble as well. They don't want to sort of start a job and in 2 months' time sort of speak to the manager and goes, right, okay, how do I become manager, kind of thing. I think a lot of people feel like, oh, am I not necessarily good enough? They might think I'm good enough, but they think, am I being cheeky asking this kind of thing? Because it kind of makes me.
I think when you're ready. Yeah, I think, and I also think you'll know when you're not the right fit, and that is time to move. Because you can do a lot about teaching somebody skill, but the will has got to be there. And if you know your heart's not in it for whatever reason, then you've got to find an organization or even a move in the company that suits you more as an individual, because you're a human being, you're not a robot. And you'll only work your best when your heart and your mind is at its best as well.
Mm.
I completely get that.
I think there's introverts out there that will probably know, look, I can do that job, but I'm just going to be like, why aren't they asking me? Do you know what I mean? And they
Yes.
won't ask for it
Yeah.
because they just don't want to put themselves
Yeah.
forward. They don't want to be seen as
Yes.
cheeky or assumptuous, assume that they're going to get the job, kind of thing. So they'll go, well, surely they're going to ask me at some point if they think I'm good
Yes.
enough, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
people out there that think like that, and it's trying to change that mindset. And I mean, yeah, I presume it's changing that mindset to think, well, I'm not being cheeky. I'm not trying to make out that I'm better than I am. You just got to word it and phrase it in a way saying, look, I would really like to have the opportunity to progress. What do you think my chances are? What do you think I need to improve to get there? And it could be that the manager or the line manager says, well, I didn't realize you wanted that role. Okay, well,
Yeah.
we can talk about it. Or it
Yeah.
could be, well, I think you've definitely got potential. I think you've just got to work on maybe a bit more experience on this side of this. That. Yeah. So it's having that conversation. You're not asking for the position. It's saying, at some point, I'd like to be able to progress. how do I go about that? And I think that's just a change of frame of mind, maybe.
Yeah, and I would definitely say that for the people that I have mentored or helped support in their careers now, when you think about a leader, the person that you're porting into, a lot of the time, I could have like 8 or 9 meetings in a day. I just practically, you're not a mind reader as a leader. You need people to explain to you what they want. They've got every right to share what they want as a career path, and your job is to help them to do that, but not to mind read. And so I actually think it's quite rude to assume that somebody would know what's in your head.
Mm.
So you've got an obligation to share that, albeit you've got to find your way to do that that suits you. So it could be over coffee, it could be via email, it could be whatever your personal preference is. But do share it, because leaders, they could have 18, 20 people, and they won't know at any one point in time and what that person wants out of their career. And it's been helpful to them to be clear with them.
Yeah, communication is massive. A manager, a leader of some sorts. It could be letting them know that you're having difficulty about something, letting them know that you would like to progress about something, but just having that two-way conversation. It doesn't always have to be coming to the manager down to you. It can be the vice versa. And I know firsthand, managers appreciate it. As you say, they're very busy. They would like to have all this information from their team. The people are the most important part of the business.
Yeah.
To have, people coming to them with ideas, their feelings, and all the rest of it is so important.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've ever watched the film I Bought a Zoo. There's a line in there that I love, which is it's about this. I won't tell you the story. You should watch the movie. It's good.
I
But
remember.
there's a line in there about being brave, and he said, or somebody was advising him, and said, "There's sometimes you just need 20 seconds of bravery. Just need to take a deep breath and do that thing." So I remember when I set up our own company last year, I had to ask for testimonials of people I'd worked with in the past, and honestly, I felt so cringe, like just asking them, like honest. And I wrote these emails and I saved them to draft because I was just like, oh, it just makes
Yeah.
me feel a bit. And I'm a talkative, relatively confident person, so I can well imagine what it might be like if you're more shy or whatever. Because I honestly felt sick at the prospect, but I just remembered this line. I took a deep breath and I just pressed send. Because what is the worst thing that could happen?
Mm-hmm.
I think 1 or 2 people didn't come back out with 50, but the 48 of them were just glowing and lovely and kind and all the things that I remembered about working with them. So it was lovely and one of the best things I ever did. But you're never going to please everybody all of the time. So just have to work on the average.
Yeah. No, it's good advice. And on your way, have you ever come across any kind of challenges or barriers, do you think, on the way? Or is, doors just swung open and invitingly every time, or
No, you have to. I don't think I've ever walked into a swinging door that was open. I think I've had to work hard to open it, well, to find the door and open it myself.
yeah.
Um, because I suppose my mindset is that there's no such thing as luck. You have to work for everything. So, yeah, definitely challenges. I found working in distribution in a mostly male environment really hard when I was in my 20s. The gentlemen tended to be a lot older than I, a lot more experienced in terms of years. I was quite senior in comparison to some of them. Let's just say they were not used to having a female boss. I found that period very challenging, but again, learned a lot from it. And I was lucky enough I asked for some help with coaches. And I also learned the power of having conversation, the art of conversation, and just being able to speak to people one to one. So I found that challenging, particularly when I was pregnant, actually walking through the warehouses and stuff. And yeah, I found, I suppose, my own eagerness and work ethic a challenge for me. So I remember leaving Topshop head office once and looking out the window and thinking, wow, I really worked until the clubs are chucking people out on Oxford Street. So it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I was still at my desk, like, that's mad. Um, so that's a challenge for me in terms of my own capacity. And obviously in some of the larger companies, having this rather bold kind of wanting to do the right thing and being quite tenacious, I suppose, in wanting to get the right thing done doesn't always sit well with organizations that, for whatever reason, are not able to flex to that type of personality. So that has been challenging. But again, I don't think I've gone through any challenge without learning a great deal from it and improving as a human being off the back of it. So I think, yeah, I although life has been hard at times, I think I've always come back out of stuff a better person.
Well, I mean, you would think after all these experiences and challenges that you face and all the sort of learnings you've taken from it, you must have something wise to tell your younger self who's thinking about leaving school or college or what have you, going into the working world. Well, what would you be saying to that young Leigh heading out into the real world, shall we say?
I think I would say really think upfront about what you want to do. No, don't follow the money in your 20s, follow the learning. So focus on, because my brain in my 20s was so much quicker than what it is now, is just learn as much as you can. Don't worry about the revenue side of things, just learn as much as you can because that will come. And learn as many skills as you can, especially in today's age, and especially from a digital technology perspective. Most of the jobs that are going to be available in the future have not even been invented yet.
Mm-hmm.
So life's changing at an incredible rate in terms of career options. So make sure that you're ahead of the game from any skills point of view, because then you'll feel more confident, but then you'll get promoted because you'll always have more skills than other people of your age or their point in their career. So you will stand out in interview and what have you. And don't expect anything. Don't expect anything. Nobody's going to give you anything on a plate. You've got to work hard for it.
Yeah, very true. And I think it's true that you say about that you're still young and you've got loads of time ahead of you. And I think if you follow your interests and your passion and you're constantly learning, all the money and success and all the bonuses off the back of it will come. There is no doubt about it. It doesn't matter what you go into, as long as you've got that interest and that passion.
Yeah. And I would say find a company that allows you to do well by doing good. So that has got a strong moral compass that doesn't just deliver the products from a commercial environment, but also does something for the community as well. So whether it's Dyson fans donating them to hospitals where they have people who unfortunately very poorly through cancer and really hot and heated, to Ben and Jerry's ice cream that help people remove the taste of the medication for cancer, whether it be BT who help people learn digital skills. Think about an organization and what it's doing, because if you work for a company that is doing well but also helping the communities and the people they serve in all sorts of different other ways to help people in life, then you won't feel like you go to work. You'll feel like you're more working for a charity, and that's a wonderful feeling. In the times that I've been able to work for charities, you just don't feel like it's a job at all.
Yeah, as you're right, and the opposite of that is working for a business that doesn't necessarily have the same values as yours,
Yeah.
and it just it doesn't sit comfortably with you.
No.
It will over time, it will get to you at work, and
Yes.
it will not be as enjoyable. You won't learn as much, you won't progress as much. So yeah, again, you're absolutely bang on with that. So thank you very much, Leigh. There's loads for people to take away from that. I know I have. But we've got a very important part of the interview now, which is the quick fire round. So
Excellent.
we've got 10 quick questions here for you. So what is your favorite career milestone?
sitting at the cabinet office table with 20 digital champions, sharing with David Cameron, Prime Minister, about how digital had saved their lives or helped their lives, without doubt.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that, I think. Number two, what's your top productivity tool?
Oh, I like Jasper.ai at the moment, I have to say. I'm finding it very helpful. I'm dyslexic, so all AI tools are helpful. They give me a voice. But yeah, I find it very creative. I'd say it saves me about 20% of my working week. So yeah, that's good.
Massive, massive save. I know. ChatGPT for me, yeah, every day. It's incredible. Never fails to surprise me. So, number three, what would you choose to climb the career ladder? Brains or determination?
Determination.
Yep. Okay. And number four, what did you first want to be when you grew up?
Air hostess.
You not
Yeah.
think about maybe going back into that?
Well, this comes back to me being an extrovert. I went on a plane, Freddie Laker planes. They went bust shortly afterwards, so maybe that's something to do with it. But I think I was 11 and I thought to myself, I'll give it a go by asking the team on the plane if I can help them during this journey because I had nothing else to do. I was going over to America. So I asked if I could be an air hostess and they gave me a hat and let me in the cockpit and let me serve lunches and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, they did. And
That's,
then they went bust a couple of months afterwards. But I decided at that point I didn't want to do it because people were actually quite rude. So yeah.
yeah, all looks very glamorous, doesn't it? Until you're serving them and
Yep.
everybody else.
Yeah, and I get a bit stropsky and the rest of it. But yes, but I would definitely recommend to anybody thinking about a career to go and do it and volunteer for it and do it for free. You'll very rarely not be able to do it if you're offering to work for free, but it gives you such an insight as to what that career is before you start to plan for it. Because there's nothing worse than having an expectation of a role and then getting there and it not meeting your expectation.
Yeah, that's great advice. You might have slipped the answer away earlier on in this chat, but are you a morning or an evening person?
I used to say I was an evening person, but I've just recently started the 5 a.m. club, which is about getting up before the rest of the world so that you can get more work done effectively. And it's really working well for me. So definitely morning.
Right. So no more finishing at 2 o'clock when they're kicking out from the clubs then. Uh,
Yeah, I've gone the other extreme.
yeah. The best source of information to keep you up to date with for your role. So everybody might be different. They might be looking at sort of LinkedIn, there might be newspapers, there might be industry, this, that, the other. It could be ChatGPT, I don't know. But what is it that where do you go to try and keep up to date with your information?
Well, I try to arrange as many one-to-ones as I can with thought leaders in the space, if they don't mind sparing 5-10 minutes for me or meeting me for a coffee. LinkedIn is a great source for me in terms of what's going on and thought leadership. Um, and then going to events, I find incredibly useful as well in networking with people. Yeah, and listening to really interesting and new voices speak on subject matters. So it just be curious.
So your peers in the industry or your peers, and either you follow them on LinkedIn free of charge, or you can try and build up relationships and speak to them one-on-one, whichever way you can go about it. But that's that again, great advice. So number 7, go to stress relief technique. What do you do when you feel a little bit overwhelmed?
I walk. Yeah.
Any direction or on the spot?
Well, I've left some meetings and just walked as far as I could away, and ended up in a field once. Uh, I like to walk where there's either water or there's green fields. I find it's really helpful. I was going to say snorkeling, but I very rarely get the chance to do that, and that's only something you can do on holiday. But that is the only. I've tried all sorts of herbal remedies and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, snorkeling or walking.
Yeah, I don't think anything can beat the sort of the natural environment. But if you're ever stuck for a place to go snorkeling, you just run a bath, don't you? Put your goggles on.
No, I was thinking about more where you can see fish then.
Get the rubber ducks out.
Like,
Um,
not rubber duck.
and number 8, one word to describe your career.
impactful.
That makes sense. Yeah. And what is the most important trait you would look for in a teammate?
Honesty.
Yeah, I think that works both ways, doesn't it? Honesty. I think honesty is definitely the best policy. So, last but not least, number 10. What is your top interview tip?
What, for this kind of thing?
If you're going,
I can't. I don't want to say it because you might say I've not got it.
if
An
someone's
interview
going
tip.
in for a job interview today,
Oh, I thought you meant interview as in what you're doing with me now. Treat it as a job. So what I mean by that is really put the effort in. Part of what we do at Impact Match is go and find amazing people, and you'd be amazed in doing that who you can find who doesn't put the time or the effort in to understand that organization. And you know, the view of most recruiters is, or leaders is, if you've not got time to understand them as an organization, why should they invest their time in you as an employee? You've got to make that time where you've got to make a job out of getting a job. You know, when I got my first popper job, I would say at Boots head office, I spent 2 weeks studying them, doing competitive analysis. You know, it's back before you had digital websites, so I was sticking labels on my arms of different prices. Go to Superdrug, go to Boots to compare prices. You know, put the effort in, and you'll go far.
Wow. Yeah, prep, definitely. What do you think if someone's got, I mean, is there a balance? If someone's in a full-time job at the moment, they're looking to progress, go for other jobs, so they've got limited time.
Yeah.
Should they sort of, be selective about the job interviews they go to so that they can put more prep into those interviews? Or do you think they should go for as many interviews as they get off?
I think really, yeah, there's a school of thought that goes on both, isn't there? Like, I honestly think there is no point in applying. It's a complete waste of your time to not put effort into an application process, because there's always going to be somebody else that does. So I think quality, not quantity.
Yeah. Okay. That's amazing. Thanks, Leigh. I really appreciate your time today. And I hope anybody can sort of go onto LinkedIn and connect with you and see all the wonderful things that you're doing with all the different organizations you're involved with. So thank you, Leigh. And I hope to speak to you again soon.
Oh, you're very welcome. And do sign up to our website as an impact maker, and then you can follow the journey and join the community. We'd love that. And thank you so much for your time. I've really enjoyed sharing some of my story. Thank you.